Did you know that adding humor to your speech can make your audience 50% more likely to remember your message? It's true. Studies show that humor not only makes you more likable but also helps your audience understand and retain what you're saying. And here's something even more surprising: people are 5 times more likely to trust you if you can make them laugh. Imagine walking into a room full of people. You're nervous, they're quiet, and it feels like the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Now, picture breaking that ice with a simple, well-timed joke. Suddenly, everyone relaxes. You've made a connection. That's the power of humor. In this video, we're going to uncover the science behind why humor works, how to use it at the perfect moment, and how you can avoid awkward moments when jokes don't land. Whether you're speaking to a group of friends, a corporate audience, or even on stage, the right humor can take your speaking skills to a whole new level. Stay tuned to learn how to use humor to become a speaker people love to listen to. Chapter 1: The Science Behind Laughs, Why Humor Works. Humor isn't just about making people laugh, it's about creating a connection. According to research, humor activates the brain's reward center, releasing dopamine and making you feel good. It's no surprise that audiences are more likely to remember what you say when they've had a laugh. Laughter makes information stick. Humor enhances memory retention by up to 50%, according to a study by the University of Maryland. The human brain is wired to enjoy humor. When we laugh, our body releases endorphins, which are natural feel-good chemicals. This makes us more open and receptive to what's being said. Think of humor as the secret ingredient to keeping your audience engaged. Even in serious speeches, a well-placed joke can turn a dry topic into something people want to hear. Using humor strategically also helps in building trust with your audience. When people laugh, they feel more comfortable around you, and trust is established faster. Humor creates a bond, making the environment more relaxed and approachable. As the famous comedian, Steve Martin, once said, "Comedy is not pretty. It's raw, human, and honest." And that's what connects you to your audience. But don't think humor is just about cracking jokes. It's a tool for making complex topics more digestible. Humor can break down barriers and help convey even the most difficult messages in a relatable way. When used correctly, humor becomes more than just a tool for entertainment, it's a powerful way to communicate ideas. Chapter 2: The Right Time, The Right Joke. Timing is everything. Timing is everything in comedy, and the same applies to public speaking. Ever heard someone deliver a joke at the wrong moment? It can feel uncomfortable. But when humor is timed right, it's magic. The key to comedic timing is knowing when to pause. A well-placed pause before or after a punchline builds anticipation, which makes the joke hit harder. Timing also involves pacing. Don't rush through your speech as though you're running a race. Take your time with jokes, allowing your audience to react. If you rush through a punchline, you miss the chance to hear that laugh. Instead, pause, make eye contact, and let the humor settle in. There's a rhythm to comedy, and that rhythm is rooted in timing. According to the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior, pauses help enhance the impact of humor because they give your audience time to process. Pauses don't just build suspense, they create space for the audience to reflect on what you just said, giving them time to laugh, think, and connect. It's not just about delivering a joke. It's about knowing when to tell it. In fact, a study by the University of Chicago revealed that people are more likely to laugh when the humor comes after a period of tension or seriousness. If you've just discussed something heavy, the audience will be more willing to laugh when you throw in a joke to lighten the mood. Mastering timing can also help you know when to drop a joke. Not every moment is the right time for humor. For instance, in a serious speech about a critical issue, introducing humor too soon can undercut the gravity of the situation. On the other hand, if you wait too long, the opportunity to break the tension may pass. Chapter 3: The Golden Rule, Authenticity over Forced Comedy. There's nothing worse than a forced joke. You know the type, where the speaker tries to be funny but it just feels awkward. Humor works best when it's authentic and true to your personality. Trying too hard to be funny can backfire. In fact, studies show that audiences are far more likely to engage with a speaker who feels real rather than someone trying to fit a mold. Authenticity creates relatability. When your humor comes from a genuine place, people see you as more approachable and down to earth. Don't try to emulate comedians you admire or follow trends that don't suit your style. Instead, use humor that reflects your personality. If you're naturally witty, embrace that. If you're more dry and subtle, that works too. Take the comedian Louis C.K., for example. His humor isn't about extravagant punchlines or silly antics. It's deeply personal and often self-deprecating. It's this raw, real approach that resonates with people. When you're true to yourself, the humor doesn't feel forced. It just flows naturally. Incorporating humor into your speeches doesn't mean you have to be a stand-up comic. Just be yourself and allow humor to shine through. As Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Humor, when delivered authentically, makes people feel seen and heard. And that's more powerful than any joke. Authenticity also means knowing your limits. There are lines in humor that, when crossed, can make you come off as disingenuous or even offensive. Stick to jokes that are inclusive and appropriate for the context. Avoid trying to be edgy just for the sake of humor. By being true to yourself, you'll find your comedic voice naturally. It's about finding humor in everyday situations, in your own experiences, and in the world around you. When humor feels natural, it draws people in and makes them more likely to engage with your message. Remember, humor isn't about pleasing everyone. Not every joke will land, and that's okay. What matters most is that your humor reflects who you are as a speaker, and when that's the case, people will connect with you on a deeper level. If you're enjoying these tips and want to learn more about how humor can improve your public speaking, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for updates. Chapter 4: Jokes that land. Crafting humor to match your audience. The key to using humor effectively is tailoring it to your audience. Not every joke will work in every situation. The type of humor you use should depend on who you're speaking to. For instance, jokes that are funny in a casual setting might not be appropriate for a corporate presentation. A recent study from the Journal of Business and Psychology found that when humor aligns with an audience's values and expectations, it can improve engagement by over 60%. This shows how important it is to know your audience. If you're speaking to a group of young professionals, for example, you might want to use pop culture references that they can relate to. On the other hand, a more formal setting, like a conference, might call for a more subtle or dry form of humor. Understanding the mood of your audience is also vital. Are they here to learn something serious, or are they just looking for entertainment? Humor that is too light for a serious topic can come off as disrespectful, while humor that is too heavy for a casual crowd can alienate them. It's all about striking the right balance. One of the best ways to gauge what kind of humor will land is through observation. Before stepping on stage, pay attention to the atmosphere. What jokes or references are people reacting to? What's the vibe in the room? Tailoring your humor based on what the audience responds to can make your speech more successful. You also want to be careful with cultural differences. Humor doesn't translate universally, so if you're speaking to an international crowd, make sure your jokes aren't inadvertently offensive. A simple misunderstanding could alienate your listeners. A 2017 study published in the International Journal of Humor Research found that humor tied to cultural references can cause confusion in cross-cultural settings. So, do your research if you're addressing a global audience. Humor works best when it's relatable. Personal anecdotes or stories that involve common experiences tend to resonate more with most audiences. People love to laugh at situations they've experienced themselves. A funny, relatable story also makes you seem more human and approachable. Lastly, remember that humor should complement your message, not overshadow it. It's important to keep your message clear, with humor supporting it rather than detracting from it. The goal is not to just make people laugh, but to keep them engaged and reinforce the key takeaways of your speech. Chapter 5: Laughter as a connection tool. Building rapport through humor. Humor is one of the best ways to connect with an audience. When people laugh, they feel more at ease and connected to the speaker. This is because laughter fosters trust. According to a study by Stanford University, people are more likely to trust a speaker who makes them laugh, as humor fosters a sense of camaraderie. Think of humor as an icebreaker. It lowers the tension and helps the audience feel comfortable, which in turn makes them more likely to engage with you. In fact, a study by the University of Kansas found that people are more likely to agree with your ideas if they've had a laugh beforehand. Laughter creates a sense of unity, which leads to greater buy-in. One effective way to use humor to build rapport is by showing vulnerability. Self-deprecating humor, when done correctly, can humanize you and make the audience feel like they're on the same level. It's a strategy that comedians like Jim Gaffigan use masterfully. His humor often revolves around making fun of his own quirks, and it builds an instant connection with his audience. You don't need to tell elaborate jokes to build rapport. A simple, light-hearted comment or observation can go a long way. It's about creating a moment of shared humor that brings the speaker and the audience together. Think of it as inviting the audience into your world for a brief moment of laughter. Humor also helps reduce anxiety in the audience. When people laugh, they release tension, making them more receptive to your ideas. This is particularly helpful if you're speaking on a topic that might cause stress or discomfort. A well-timed joke can alleviate some of that tension and make your audience feel more at ease. Remember that the key to using humor for connection is authenticity. If you're trying to force humor into a serious speech, it can come off as inauthentic and may have the opposite effect of what you want. Humor should feel natural and aligned with the tone of the speech. When it feels genuine, it can help create a bond that lasts throughout the entire presentation. If you want more tips on using humor to master public speaking, make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you never miss a new video. Chapter 6, From Awkward to Ace, Handling Humor Mishaps Like a Pro. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, a joke doesn't land the way you expect. It happens to even the best speakers. The key is how you handle these moments. If a joke falls flat, the worst thing you can do is to get flustered. Stay calm, and don't let the moment derail your entire speech. In fact, the way you recover from an awkward moment can make you even more relatable to your audience. One way to recover smoothly is to laugh at yourself. This shows humility and that you're not afraid to be imperfect. Audience members tend to appreciate speakers who don't take themselves too seriously. In his book, The Humor Code, Peter McGraw talks about the importance of embracing awkward moments because they humanize you and make you more relatable. Another strategy is to quickly pivot and acknowledge the situation with humor. If a joke falls flat, simply say something like, "Well, that was a swing and a miss," and move on. This shows confidence and that you're in control of the situation, which helps to maintain the flow of your speech. It's also helpful to keep a few backup lines or anecdotes prepared in case your humor doesn't work as expected. These can be short, light-hearted comments that serve as a buffer while you regain your rhythm. Remember, the audience is on your side, they want you to succeed, so don't worry if a joke doesn't always hit the mark. Timing can also save the day when humor doesn't go as planned. If a joke doesn't land, pause for a moment and then move on with confidence. Silence, when used correctly, can be powerful. A well-placed pause after an awkward moment allows your audience to settle and refocus. The key takeaway here is to stay composed. Humor mishaps are inevitable, but they don't have to ruin your presentation. If you handle them with grace and confidence, your audience will respect you even more. Remember, they're there to listen to your message, not to judge your jokes. So, laugh it off and keep going. Thanks for watching. If you found these strategies helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more tips on improving your speaking skills.